Here we go.
Hello and welcome to Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film scene. I'm your host, Nick Fiorella. Today we're diving into the high-impact, behind-the-scenes world of stunt performance with two incredible Colorado-based stunt people, Cameron Carter and Tara Fox. Both Cameron and Tara do stunt work for feature films, indie productions, and video game motion capture, bringing physical storytelling, precision, and a whole lot of discipline to every project they touch. From fight choreography to wire work to motion capture and creature movement, they embody the craft that helps directors turn action on the page into action on the screen. We'll dig into their journeys into the stunt world in Colorado and beyond, and what it really takes to make a living as a stunt performer, and how filmmakers, especially in Colorado, can collaborate more effectively with professional stunt teams to elevate their productions. Cameron, Tara, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I'm stoked to dive into this, But how's your guys' week going? What have you guys been up to?
It's pretty
Coming
good.
off the back of Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Did you guys travel or anything?
No, I just stayed put. Me and my fiance, we just had like Thanksgiving just with my parents. Just keeping it low key, and now we're just like trying to stay warm now that the weather is like, changing rapidly now. So.
And congratulations, you just got engaged.
I did, yeah. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah, we're excited.
How about you, Tara?
We stayed put for this Thanksgiving, but we're tearing apart our house because we're moving. So
Oh, is that right?
That's exciting. And yeah, just in between different commercial sets and recording, like voiceover recordings and stuff like that. Just been busy.
That's awesome. Yeah, the marathon begins.
It does.
Yeah,
the countdown to Christmas.
Sure.
Oh, man.
Well, cool. Yeah, again, thank you guys for doing this. As far as like kind of kicking this off, how did you guys both get into stunt performance? And, tell me about some of those first projects that kind of led you into really going, okay, like if there was a certain project that you were really like, okay, I think I could make, a job out of this and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of, now that I'm like thinking back on it, it kind of changed. So I started, when I was 7, I did Taekwondo. So I've had like martial arts experience for a little over 25 years. Of course, like a lot of that was just, Jackie Chan, Jet Li films. Like that's just like, I knew I wanted to do martial arts because of that. And then I think it was like a movie like The Matrix. That's when I was like, oh man, like now I want to do movies. And so
Nice.
as
that
that,
makes sense.
you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I got into it. So honestly, it was, I was talking, with a buddy, this was in college, and it was kind of cool having that conversation of just like, oh yeah, like I want to do stunts, and he wanted to do stunts. And at that point we were just kind of figuring out, it's like, okay, well, how do we get started? Like where do we look? And, over the years, like we've come across mentors and other, teachers and even just other peers that have like been in the industry. And that's kind of how you funnel yourself in. You kind of just have to talk to people. And, but when I'm thinking about like that one moment where I was like, oh man, I'm like really doing this.
Yeah.
There's many sets that I can think of right now, but there was a time where, the mentor I was with, took me to a convention in Cheyenne. And this was like, it was a smaller convention, but you had comic book artists, you had actors, you had the whole 9 yards. And, he's taking me around to introduce everybody and people that he's worked with and artists that like, he's interacted with and even like did projects with. And then all of a sudden we're invited to dinner. So now we're having dinner with these people and I'm looking around like, how am I in this situation? Like I'm in my early 20s and I'm sitting with him. I'm kind of, I'm nervous. I'm just like, oh, these like, these people. And, these people have been in like Power Rangers. Like, it's like, dude, I've seen you like when I was a kid, like I watched you and
all stunt people or like film all or a mix?
I think it's a mix, right?
Yeah.
Artists and stuff like that. And at the end of the table was, it was Billy D. Williams. Because he was, I think he had just come from Lando Calrissian from Star Wars.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So he was one of the. I didn't get to talk to him anything. I think everybody kind of like respected his space But he's at the table, and you're just at eating dinner with these people, and then you get that one moment where one of the actors kind of like just like, hey, so what do you do, kid? And you're just like, I can't remember what I said, but I was just like, I do fights and stuff. Like I blacked out at that point. But it was, but then now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, when I go on set, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, this is the job. This is like what my first stunt fall or my first like fight scene. But what really put me in was that memory of just like, I'm talking with these folks and we're just hanging out. It's not, we're not even talking about work. And it was just like, I'm sitting there like, man, like I'm a stunt guy now. Like I'm in the same room with these people. Like sure. That's kind of really where it all, and I know it's like kind of sentimental, but that's cool. I think just true, honestly, like that's that moment. It was just like, this is it. This is the business. And then I can go on set and just be confident and just like, yeah, like let's do it. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
So
Tara, how about you?
Gosh, so I grew up in theater and did theater all throughout like elementary, middle, high school. One of the guys that I did, one of like the teachers that I did theater with was actually a Hollywood stuntman.
Oh, really?
And because I was a gymnast, he was like, hey, we need some stunts for this, so why don't you just start doing stunts? So he started training me in how to do like some of the falls and how to do like stage combat and how to do like different stuff on stage. So I just kind of fell into it naturally, pun intended.
Cool.
When I really felt like a stunt person was the first time I got injured on set.
Yeah.
I was 16, so I actually broke my back at 14 in gymnastics.
Oh, okay.
Not as dramatic as it sounds. It was like just a compression fracture, but I mean, still, that kind of stopped my gymnastics career. Not that I was great or anything. I was not like I had no like aspirations of going anywhere with it. It was just more something fun I liked to do. So anyway, I kind of just channeled it into, I was like, what else can I do? Ooh, let's go with a much safer profession. Let's go into stunts. So I was 16 and got dropped early. So I was in like a dead fall basically to concrete. And they thought I ruptured my spleen. I didn't. I just, bruised everything internally. I still have a dislocated rib to this day from that one. So that made me feel like, yeah, I'm a stunt person. I've got scars to prove it now.
I should mention you both are phenomenal actors.
Thank you.
Like, holy cow. Yeah, we did the 48 together.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing you like tear up on camera and I was just like, holy shit, this girl's like, yeah. Yeah, you guys are both phenomenal actors.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, in terms of like the landscape around here, I did just want to ask you this, like as we were kind of talking through this, I was thinking like, what does the landscape around Colorado kind of look like? And is it like, I've heard you guys talk about like going to like gyms and there's like troops or groups that are like into stunts and, practicing all the aspects of falls and stuff. Like, can you tell me about that? And like, just kind of where would somebody kind of go to kind of get involved in this as a stunt person locally?
Yeah. So what I would say is there's such a wide variety of stunts, first and foremost. Like, yes, you'll see the big Hollywood action stars, You'll see the big Hollywood action stars that are like Hollywood action stunt stars that are like, they kind of do everything. But even in that, they still have specialties. So if you want to go into stunts, you don't have to be like, I'm going to do it all. Kind of start with what you're interested. You love fire, you want to get lit on fire, find fire specialists. You like acrobatics, find acrobatics troops. I mean, we have so many really good circus performers in Colorado that are fabulous. So like if you're looking for juggling, I mean, basically any special skill you can think of, juggling, fire breathing, getting lit on fire, high falls, all the things, is kind of look for specific stuff. If you want to do fighting, I would say find really good dojos, ask around. And I think the thing that's important is who you're learning from is still learning themselves.
Sure.
And the person that I learned from, my martial arts instructor that I learned from, he always told me, he's like, if I ever stop learning, he's like, I want you to leave me. He's you want to be with people that are, in in the midst of it, they're still learning themselves. They're still open to learning, because I think that's huge in this industry that's big on safety, and like things are like constantly moving and rotating. So if you're learning from people, whoever it is, make sure that they're concerned about safety, make sure that they're learning from other people, and they're open to like, taking feedback and changing how, because, sometimes, it's worked this way, and all of a sudden the times change, and, it's now a different way.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's progress, and we have to be with people who are fluid with going with the flow. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of what we've talked about is just, finding the people, talk to people. You're on set and you're going, what else are you interested in? Oh, I love skateboarding. No way. I know these people that love to skateboard, like stuff like that. Because when it's like, hey, as a director, and you're like, hey, does anybody know somebody that, can balance on a ladder and juggle? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I have friends that can do that,
Sure,
so
sure.
I mean, it's kind of talking and finding your people that are like, oh my gosh, you like hand-to-hand combat?
Mm-hmm.
Me too. You like video games? Dude, motion capture. Let me tell you, and it's just talking and finding those groups of people and being open to the collaboration. And
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that was something I was really like surprised to find in Colorado, is like the video game scene that's here. And I feel like I know Deck 9 is one.
Yes.
And then I feel like there's another one somewhere in Aurora that someone told me about. But ultimately, I know you guys both have had some experience with like motion capture and in doing stunts within that. Can you talk about that process? Because that might be something that someone locally wouldn't even think about.
Yeah.
And like, so like, how did you guys get into that? And kind of getting your name out there to be, hired by some of these video game companies to do stunts. And if you could walk me through the process a little bit for people that don't know, I'm thinking like Avatar with dots and stuff like that. And,
Yep.
and I've kind of dabbled a little bit in Unreal Engine type stuff. So, but yeah, like, how did you guys, what does the landscape of that side of things look like in Colorado and beyond, if your guys are marketing yourself to LA or New York?
Yeah.
And then technically, what does that look like
Okay.
for people that don't know?
So I'll let Tara will tell you. I'll let her take the reins. But I did want to share, like, because Tara was actually the one that got me into motion capture. It was just the conversations. I think to your point, just a second ago, it was like you meet people, and then that's kind of how you find, like, that's how you narrow down like where you want to go. But I think of a time, so we had trained like a couple years, and we were in LA at Atlanta working with a lot of, big industry people, and just helping us out, going through seminars and just going through that training, performing and technically. But I think back to SIGGRAPH, which is like the multimedia like tech convention. For people that don't know, it's really awesome, because it's you go there, and they're showcasing a bunch of new tech that's coming out, that's like, whether it's helpful for motion capture or just video game animation in general. But that was like, because I had been suited up, like I kind of knew the conventions of motion capture and just the movement base and performance. But when I went in there, it was kind of like, whoa, this is like a whole new side of motion. I like, what is this? And Tara's like, taking me on the tour, and I'm just like, oh, meeting different industry people, and it's just like, and I'm just shaking my head like, this is crazy. Like, because there's so much more to it, especially the technical side. But I knew, I knew there was going to be a marriage with motion capture and stunts.
That makes sense, right?
You know what I mean? Like, I play so many video games, and it's like, because I can see it. It's like, oh, I can see that performer, the way his body's moving. Like, I can see that happening.
Right.
And of course, there's like specifics with it, but yeah. Anyway, that was just a fun moment of like, yeah, I'm doing, here's a corner of mocap that I've been exposed to, but then, there's a whole new world out there.
And this was a video game studio in Atlanta that you had kind of knew and coordinated with, and were they bringing you guys out to do stunts for this video game, or was it more just a tour? Or?
Oh, he was talking about SIGGRAPH, the big convention.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But then you had mentioned going to like Atlanta.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
we've done stuff in Atlanta, we've done stuff in LA. Like, I mean, that's where all the big stunt stuff really is. And I mean, so like if you want to be a full-time stunt person, currently you pretty much need to be in LA or Atlanta, Las Vegas. I mean, there's a lot of stuff down in Texas as well. It's just kind of where there is big productions, big studios, stuff going all the time. You know, we have stuff here, but it's not enough to make a full-time living if you're just here and that's it.
When you guys travel, it
We
sounds
travel.
like quite a bit to either LA or New York or Atlanta or what have you.
Yeah.
Because we're crazy and we love it.
We just
that's
love
cool.
it.
Yeah. And ultimately, that's what you got to do, I suppose. It's just not quite there yet here.
Yeah, not
Definitely
yet.
not. Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see with new tax incentives. We got Sundance coming, so you know, fingers crossed, more stuff comes in. But but to motion capture. So I got started. My manager called me in 2020, and she's like, "Hey, would you be okay doing motion capture?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, totally." And I'm like, what is motion capture and how to do it? I'm like looking it up. I'm going, what did I just say a yes to? So I looked it up and I was like, oh my gosh. So what I actually looked for is places in LA that would teach it and would, or at least showcase whatever. So I found this fabulous group out in LA that actually teaches and goes through the whole process of motion capture, and that's where I got started. I started flying out to LA, and this is just my personal take because I'm an actor and performer first and foremost, and then I just like to do stunts.
Yeah, that's cool.
So my whole theory from my whole career, whether it's voiceover, on-camera acting, motion capture, is I want to learn from basically the top of the industry, because when I'm going for roles, I'm competing against people in LA. So I want to learn from who they're learning from.
Right.
So I have always either flown out to LA for stuff, Zoomed with directors in LA, like stuff like that, just so I can learn what my competitors are learning, that type of thing. I want to be like on that tier. So that's my personal opinion, is I spend the time and the money to go out and get, the learning from the best.
Sure.
And so was out there, and the very first time they started giving us like these wild scenarios, because when you're in video games, it can be anything. It's like the craziest scenarios. You're on a cliffside in 3 feet of snow. Everybody's dying. Somebody's not going to make it. You have to decide who, and oh my God, there's werewolves chasing you. Go. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be believable. Like it has to, and that's the motion capture, is the skeleton doesn't lie. You can't fake anything. It's the most fun, the most fully embodied acting you will ever do. Mm-hmm. And for me, motion capture specifically, because you just do so many crazy things. I'm like, you get to live 1,000 lives in one day. You love like so unconditionally. You lose everything. You die. You watch people die. You come back. You fight. You hate. You do all of this stuff. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh my God, my soul is on the floor, but I feel so alive. It's just so fun. And
cool.
There's nothing quite like it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So I mean, I could talk about motion capture all
Sure.
day. Because
it's
so
like
fun.
It's like a whole suit, right? With
It's
dots,
a whole
and then
suit.
is it typically like the rig? And I know what is the I don't know if it's always like what's the for Unreal Engine,
Like
the
facial
metahumans,
capture.
the facial capture.
It depends.
Is that the
yeah.
typical pipeline?
It depends.
It's different. Yeah.
It very much depends.
Metahuman animator.
Yeah.
Is the pipeline with the cell phone, or is that just like the app that makes it accessible for
It depends.
whoever? Like,
Yeah. I mean, different studios use different things.
Okay.
So a lot of times they will use the camera because they're so great now. Sometimes you can get like the really expensive ones. So like your AAA video games typically will do the bigger cameras because they have more like the frame rate and all the things.
Yeah.
Like is more what's the word? It's more reliable,
Yeah.
has been.
And it's probably like 2 cameras that are like capturing your face in 3D versus one camera from a cell phone.
Yeah, it's a smaller camera, so it's not a big phone in your face.
Yeah,
it's a small camera, and but I mean it completely depends. Like it depends on the production. This is where people don't realize, like when they watch like video games and they're like, oh my gosh, I loved this character, he played this. Mm-hmm. The truth is, especially in the biggest video games, is that one character could have been portrayed by 5-6 different people, because you've got the main voice actor who provides like the voice of the character in the game, but then you could have somebody who just does the body. You could have somebody separate that does the head, and sometimes the people who do the voice can be the head and the facial part.
Okay.
And then you have a separate person for the body. Then if you need a specialist for stunts, that's a whole nother body.
Okay.
And it can be, sometimes it'll be the same person doing facial capture, body capture. So the motion capture is referring to just the body capture.
Right.
Facial capture, just facial.
Yep.
Full performance capture would be you're capturing my face, my body, my voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
so it's
and
different
all of that.
equipment for each of those people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And is it like, I'm imagining like programming moves like Mortal Kombat or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
video
Yeah.
game. Is it a lot of like kind of stop and start where it's like they're just kind of getting the bits that they need to kind of program the different moves into the character? Or is it like full on scenes? Maybe the cut scenes are a little more full on versus like individual bits that they need for the gameplay. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. As far as moves, typically it'll just be that snippet of movement.
Right.
Because they want the so like the suit might be the suit that you're wearing might be a little different. So they're capturing more specific stuff. So now whether you have more dots, I think it's probably not the quantity of dots. It's just the placement of them. But yeah, typically you'll be doing like a couple moves a few times, and then okay, the next one, and then that's how they integrate those move sets like within. Maybe if it's a fighting game, it's like okay, that's how they're using it.
Right.
But yeah, like just different equipment. Obviously you're probably not going to have a head rig because it's not so much about the facial expressions and stuff. And then plus if you're fighting, it's like you don't want that equipment like hitting each. Oh, oops.
Just like
Just
that.
like that.
Just like that.
Just like equipment.
Case in point.
Oh, and I broke it.
Take two.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, you don't want like head rigs to like collide with one another. You kind of have to like think. It's like okay, if this person's doing like a roll, it's like you don't want to have a battery pack on and you smash it. So
Yeah, right.
But yeah, just like, and then just to kind of add on to like what Tara was saying was motion capture was something for in terms of stunts like that. Actually, it in a way it actually helped him with stunts a little bit more in terms of performance because when you're in motion capture, it's like you kind of have to think of it like, okay, what does my silhouette look like? Like if you were a shadow, it's like, what am I doing? It's like, is this believable? Like if I'm doing a specific action, it's like, does it look like it? Because like sometimes, especially martial artists, like we do everything crisp and like really fast. And then when you look at it, it's like, oh, I can't really see the detail of like what you did in terms of that movement. So whether it's like unarmed or weapons or like firearm training, it's you really have to like kind of exaggerate the movement. You have to like take your time.
That versus like live action versus like a mocap thing. Do you exaggerate the movements a little more maybe? Like,
I think so. Like because I just with like personal projects that I've kind of worked on, and I'm looking at the playback, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do that one more time. I'm gonna like kind of dip a little bit more than I would if it was a practical fight or something.
Yeah.
And then it turns out it's like, oh yeah, just having that like mindset of like, does my silhouette tell the story? Right. And then when you do that, even in live action, it's like, oh wow, like that exaggerated movement actually makes that move more intense.
Sure.
And it just reads better.
No, that makes sense. Well, I could talk about like mocap and stuff all day, but we should probably move on. I love it. It's like geeking out about it. And obviously you and I have experimented with some scenes with it. I'm fascinated by it. But Well, let's move on to just in general, like stunt performing, safety. It's like, I feel like most people would think, oh, I think certainly the case, like the stunt people are probably like the coolest people on set. It's like, but
we
people,
think so.
The craziest.
Yeah.
The craziest for sure.
Yeah.
Well, people would look at you guys as like, oh, they're fearless, they're down for anything. But I know safety is obviously a huge component to this.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Just like in terms of like, what are you bringing to the set from that perspective? And what are things that maybe producers and directors should be keeping in mind to make sure that you and your team are feeling supported and, we're not going to lead to mishaps on sets? I don't know if there's certain kind of checks leading into a stunt or common practices for safety and that sort of thing. Can you guys just touch on some of those things a little bit? Like what should producers and directors be knowing is, something that should be top of mind outside of just getting what they need for the shot?
Yeah. Definitely. Well, I mean, safety obviously is first and foremost because nobody wants accidents on set that, one is bad, but then two, I mean, it delays production and, nobody wants that either. So the best thing is just being open to collaboration, being open to like listening to everybody, because no, we're not fearless speaking to fear. I mean, I think everybody needs a healthy dose of fear. I mean, that is good because it means I'm going to pay more attention.
Yeah. Some people are scared too, man.
Oh yeah. Like I can't tell you how many high falls you sit there and go, why?
Yeah, you're looking down, you're like, okay, just give me a second.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I used to think that, oh yeah, they're never afraid, and I'm up there like terrified. But it's good. It's good because then, I'm going to be like, all right, is the airbag good? Do I have people that are around this airbag that are they good? Because that's the thing is the communication before you jump. Everybody's ready. The safety people are watching me, are we all good? I mean, it keeps you aware. And I think that's the big thing for performers is if you don't feel safe in any stunt, in any situation, even if you're just an actor, on set. And I mean, this goes for emotional scenes. If you need a second, you are your best advocate. You need to speak up for yourself.
Sure.
This doesn't feel right. And even if you're like, I can't put my finger on it, but I just don't feel right about this, speak up.
Sure.
And that is something as a stunt coordinator, as like a safety specialist, if you have somebody, or as a director, if you've got stunts happening on set and somebody's like, hey, we have to take 5, this isn't feeling right. Yes, it might be frustrating, especially if you're already behind schedule, but I would say you have to listen.
Yeah.
You have to listen because you need to take the time to be like, what can we do? Do we just need a second to be like, collect our thoughts and be like, all right, I'm good.
Right.
Is it something that we need to adjust the scene in somehow? And I think it's just like everything, just being open to the collaboration of, sometimes stuff works, but like if you've got a high wind day, I'm sorry, you're not really going to be doing high falls that day because you shouldn't be. Because you've got a wind problem, and just kind of being open. I mean, as you know, like stuff happen, like other stuff just with performance, on sets happen all the time. So it's just being open to the collaboration and just understanding that is part of the process.
Well, and are there certain like roles, and I think you touched on it there, but like that ultimately are focused on safety? Like I would imagine, it's like there's a medic on set, but are there certain roles like within the stunt team that are focused on safety, or like if it's like fire, there's probably you have to have like a fire marshal on set. But is there somebody on the team that's like almost like an HR person but for stunts?
No, absolutely. I mean, like a pyro, like there's definitely specifics, but to Tara's point, it's like as a stunt performer, it's like you trust your instincts and like know your skills and stuff, but don't be that stunt guy that's just gonna like, oh yeah, no, I can do it or whatever. It's just like, look, if something's dangerous, like you got to pull back. You can't let that ego get to you. But to avoid that, I think like at the beginning of a day on set, I think, well, I'll just preface real quick. All of that, like when you're looking at it, it's really about the discipline for the performer to listen to the stunt coordinator and for the director to understand that the stunt coordinator has a job. So a lot of the biggest mistake I think is like when you have a producer or a director that's that's kind of like taking control of like an action scene or whatever. And it's like, okay, because they have the vision, right? They know what it looks like, but it's like, you need to talk to the stunt coordinator. Like at that point, if this is an action scene, he or she is kind of the boss.
Yeah.
Because they know exactly in terms of safety, in terms of coordination, like this is what has to be executed in this certain way. It's never simple as like, okay, that didn't work. Well, can you just shift like over? It's like, no. If we shift this, then everything else has to change, you know? So, because there's a lot of bad accidents that happen just because of negligence of like not understanding the conventions and the components of like a stunt gag that's like going on. But like, you know, at the start of the day, it's like we have that safety meeting.
Okay.
And that involves pretty much I would say it pretty much involves everybody, just so that everybody's aware of like what's going on. It's like, okay, we're doing a high fall. You know, I've got my stunt safety people on each corner of the bag. Like they have to look up, give a visual and an audio cue of like, you're good, you know, before we like tell the director like, okay, hit action. Okay, like start filming now. So it's like, there's definitely that time where it's like, okay, the stunt coordinators, that person is the person basically at that point. And so it's really just the discipline of just like, you know, following the rules, like don't try to jump the chain of command, like just respect the fact that like these people, whether you're like art department or not, you know, it doesn't matter. It's like, this is their job. Like, you know, just like understand like they have a function to perform. So just trust that they know. And I know, you know, the director, and I'm not speaking on like this is like an experience or anything, or like, you know, assuming that they're all like this, but it does happen where the director is just kind of just taking control of everything, and it's like, no, you have people that can do this, like, you know. So,
and you want to respect people's roles, and not try to jump in and control every little detail, and, let the specialists do their thing,
because they'll miss something, and it's like, oh, I didn't know, and then someone gets hurt, it's like, you know, sucks.
For sure.
It's definitely a dance, because you know, back to the point of the directors are concerned about the overall story, you know, and they're about conveying that story to the best of their ability. So on the flip side, if you've got a stunt coordinator that's focused on the fight, but it's feeling like it's not helping the story, you know, communicate that. That's where, you know, it's really great to be like, okay, not just, hey, I want to fight. What story are you trying to tell in the fight? That supports the larger story. And that's something I've learned out like in LA, like choreographing stunts and stuff, is it's not just a fight, it's a story. The fight is a story in and of itself. And you know, I think that is best served when the director and the stunt coordinator can really get together and be like, hey, I need this fight. It's going to be, you know, in a saloon, but you know, the fight is really about like heartbreak, and you know, I want to see that heartbreak come out in the process of this fight. It represents a heart shattering. And I want to see that. And now all of a sudden you've got this dynamic fight. It's no longer just, hey, I punch you, you punch me.
Yeah, just throwing cool moves.
Just throwing cool moves and I look sweet on camera. It's going, I want a fight that makes me cry.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to see the breakdown.
For sure.
In the fight. And I think that's the magic. I mean, that's the magic of story. That's probably why we're all here, because we're all like, oh my God. You know, that's the magic of collaboration. When a director gives a clear vision of this is what I want to see, and the stunt coordinator's like, I got you. Let's make it. So it's definitely a dance. It's not okay, a total pass off, but it's like clear communication from the get-go, and collaboration of like the stunt coordinator coming back to the director and being like, are you getting what you need? You know, sometimes on bigger sets you do previs, you know, so you shoot you do rehearsals beforehand to be like, okay, this is what we're thinking. So it gives opportunity. If you've got the time, it gives opportunity to be like, hey, let's make those decisions. We need it changed a little bit. You know, we can only get the camera here. Like, that's the time for that, because then it's like, hey, we can practice adjusting it. No big deal. You know, versus being like on set, we've got 5 minutes left and it's like, now we need to do this. And that's when the accidents happen. It's just when it's, I mean, we know, like you get down to the wire and you're like, stuff happens, but
Sure,
it's,
sure.
it's learning to, just be communicative and in the moment, but it's a dance.
Yeah. Well, and I definitely wanted to dive into that, is like that collaboration, because even just the fight scene that we did for that test, that little mocap test, that was so much fun, because it was more like I was like collaborating with you guys on like, okay, the beats of the scene.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then you guys were able to come up with the most sick stuff
Yeah.
to go, okay, like, all right,
Yeah.
I see where you're going with like this moment, and then you guys came up with some really cool shit that would like lead to like to accomplish that.
Sure, yeah.
So like, from a collaboration standpoint, whether it's like advice for a director collaborating with the stunt team, or even just the perspective of like, I think people would be interested to know, like in a script, like how much in a script typically, is detailed, like, is it just the beats of the fight typically, or is it just a line like, then they fight? And then it's like completely in the hands of like the stunt performers. Like how much, typically is in the script, like, and then how much wiggle room does the stunt team usually have, or is it different?
I think it depends. Like a stunt coordinator, or just whoever's running the show. You could just have like, okay, here's the fight, as just like a note of like, okay, this is what we're doing, and maybe the director's just saying that because it's like, I know who I'm gonna hire to like make figure this out, but.
Right.
You'll also have like basically like a stunt. It's like a breakdown. So you kind of have like a list of like, okay, this move. Like it's stunt coordinators will have like their own structure within a structure, basically. So you have like their stunt breakdown. But I guess I'll kind of just speak on like maybe if people are like wondering what like that process is, or like what would help make it easier is something that me and a buddy kind of figured out is location. So if you're, if you want to build this fight, like you're writing something and it's like, okay, so it's like it's in an arena. There's like a gladiator fight. Like there's people cheering and blah, and you're setting up this beautiful scene in the script, and it's like that's awesome. And then you're coming up with the fights and stuff, and it's like. You kind of have, depending on, indie filmmaker or just like if you have no budget, you kind of have to take a step back because it's like, okay, do we have an arena? Like, do we have access to, like, do you have 50 extras like that we could just hire at a moment's notice? And it's like a lion pops up. Do you have a lion? Like, where is that coming from? But I love that enthusiasm, but You start with the location because, when you're writing details, like if you're saying like, moves are one thing, but even with the moves, you have to know where your surroundings are, like what the environment looks like. Because it could be like, okay, we're fighting on a rooftop and, you're jumping off like some sort of structure up there. It's like, okay, well, let's make sure that structure is there that you're writing about. And then we can put it in the script. It's like, oh, that, staircase, yep, there it is. Like we went to location, we scouted it, and we know it exists. So it's like we can use that. And then when we do previs, then we can actually practice that. Instead of just kind of like building a fight out of nothing and then just hoping that like when you go to location, like everything works out. But it's just making sure, because sometimes the ground might not be great. Like I remember being on set and we were doing like a fantasy film, and we did the scout location. We went there, we took pictures, we looked at every single detail, and then we started looking, and then we started writing the script out. Like, okay, we're doing these moves, gets shoved into a bush, there's the bush. Like we took a picture of it, we know it's gonna be there. But then, comes to find out costume-wise, then it's like I'm looking at my boots and I'm like, I have no tread. Like my boots are just flat. And so now I'm doing like this hang 10 and I'm like sliding all over the gravel. So it's like you go there, it's like, okay, what does the ground look like? So anyway, just long-winded of like, just know the location, understand the environment first before you start going into detail. And a lot of people have their different methods, but I find that's easier to write a fight. I'll call it like a script, I guess, for fighting or whatever.
Yeah.
Just so that you're not going to set and then being surprised. Weather is one thing, you can't really control that, but at least you're not gonna.
Well, I can, but
Yeah,
speak for yourself.
yeah, I'm not that good yet. I have to kind of
Well, I didn't
It's
know
the next
Stunt
level.
People,
that's
yeah.
the next step. Yeah.
I mean, I keep it.
Once you
light.
get further in your development of
Yeah.
capabilities,
Zeus,
yeah,
like,
you
yeah,
can
just-
start to actually manipulate the weather.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, you want to do a maneuver, and oftentimes like you go there and it's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we do that? It's like, well, no, it would be. I mean, like that's great, but let's stick with what we practice, and if we can do that,
Yeah.
then let's try it. But you don't want to get like thrown off guard with like a stunt coordinator saying like, oh, I kind of changed my mind. I think we got to, change a few things. And it's like, oh, but we practiced, and it's one thing to learn to adapt and stuff, but you got to do it carefully. Like you were talking about, like you can't, it's just, cause if you change something and then it's like, oh yeah, we get shoved into that, rock wall or whatever,
Right.
come to find out like, oh, it was actually fragile than it was like an actual like thick structure or something. Then it's like, oh, well, something broke, and then maybe you get hurt.
Sure.
But it just helps mediate the mitigate kind of like those mistakes that will happen on set.
And that sounds like you're getting into kind of breaking down the actual fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you get into like set, like location scouting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the script, I guess, like are in the scripts that you guys see, and I've kind of just taken a crack at this and the stuff I've done that does involve some maybe not quite crazy stunt stuff, but just actiony stuff. Is like, are they mapping out the emotional beats of the scene, or like sort of the plots beats of the scene? So it's like, maybe they fight for a minute, something happens where the gun gets kicked away, and it's like, okay, they both got, plot driven, like they both have to race to grab the gun, or like there's a cliff that they're backing up and getting close to.
Yeah.
And, the beats of the scene maybe in the script are like, emotionally with the characters, but maybe like they're getting closer and closer to the cliff. Like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Or is it just they're near a cliff and they fight, and we will be partnering with your team to figure out exactly how the beats of this scene go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, real quick. Absolutely. I think there's like that's where the communication from the director and the stunt coordinator comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Like a stunt coordinator or a fight choreographer will understand kind of like those emotional beats, because I think like a stunt, like a good stunt coordinator will understand kind of like the emotional aspect of it, and will build a really good fight. Because I think when we're I guess we'll just talk fights just for the sake. But when you're looking at a fight, the reason why we like a fight so much is because there's a perfect understanding between the director and the stunt coordinator of like, okay, step one is like we need the conflict, right? This is how it starts, and then step two is that point where I'll just call it like the learning of it. So like the protagonist is learning, like the protagonist is losing, and then it's like, okay, I'm learning in this fight,
Right.
And then step three is the resolution.
Right.
So it's
right.
like to your point, like you're building that story, because it's one thing to just like string moves together and they're cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's just like, okay, but what am I rooting for? It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's not necessarily just like, we'll start with the basic moves and then we work on to the bigger move. It's not always like that. It's sometimes it's just all basic, but again, it's like, what is your character like? Is your character a fighter, or is your character like a fisticuff, or just trying to survive,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, there's moments where it's like, you kick the gun like across the floor, and then they're both scrambling for it.
Right.
And you just get that shot of just like, you see them in the, like they're trying to get, to it.
Right. Right.
And it's like, maybe this fight is about just getting that gun or something, or just,
Yeah.
or getting that, whatever.
And even like you said, just whoever's winning versus losing, and then
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
like there's a moment with the character where they kind of have a little like moment to themselves, or they somehow like see something that makes them realize how to beat the person that's been kicking their butt the whole scene.
Yeah, and then they come back
it
and they win.
turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like so like stuff like that in the script, but then ultimately the details of how that falls together. The I was so excited collaborating.
That's
with
where
you
the
guys. That was
magic
so
happens,
much
man.
fun.
That's
Like,
where the
to just,
magic happens.
Go, okay,
Yeah.
like I was more describing the beats of the scene, but then you guys were coming up with like the coolest stuff to
Yeah.
go, okay, if that's what you're trying to accomplish,
Yeah.
maybe we could try this or that,
Yeah.
with the bring the knife in or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was so much fun collaborating
It is
with you
fun.
guys on that. And I
Yeah.
feel like I would in future scripts maybe approach it not so like I do get into like thinking through everything.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's like I've just done films with friends and like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to sit there and like describe it to them.
No, yeah.
And
Yeah.
have them play it out and whatnot. I'm not working
Yeah.
with people that know martial arts and weapons and stuff. And
But they can be stand-ins, and you can learn a lot just by being like, you stand here. Okay, how do I get you to walk over there?
Right.
In an intimidating manner or whatever. But like to your point about like in a script, I've seen it a lot of different ways. I've seen fight here,
Yeah, right.
and it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to do. So it depends on who is writing it, who's directing it. Like
Okay.
if you have experience and you're like, okay, I know I want these beats.
right.
Write out the beats. If you're just trying to like get the story and you're like, okay, kind of like I need a emotionally complicated scene here, but I can't write it right now, but I want a placeholder, use the placeholder and then fill it out later. So it really just depends on the person. If you're like, I love this stuff and I want to break it down and I've got the beats mapped, fabulous. If you're like, I want to fight here.
And really collaborate with a team like your guys.
Exactly. Any way. It comes down to what are you interested in doing and what do you like to do? Do that.
Okay.
Whether that's directing, producing, acting.
Cool. Okay. No, that's good. Yeah, I've always been kind of curious about that. Like, and some people have told me, "Oh, I think you might be overwriting this here." Like, but
No, because it's always helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it makes it more clear.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you could always work with someone like where you guys would go, actually, it would be really cool here, and then it changes
so
and just
fun.
becomes better.
That's
and
where it's
better.
exciting. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
sure a good amount of detail is good.
Yeah.
And you want to map out the emotional beats of the scene
Yeah.
for the characters, but then let you guys do your thing.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, because as the
but-
director, you have the overarching vision.
Right.
And that's the thing, like stunt coordinators, like have to realize that. I mean, unless they've been briefed on the entire thing, and oftentimes they are, sometimes they're not. If they're just coming in for a scene, the director's the one that is in charge of the overall story and making sure, the beats are hit. So having those being like, this is the beat we need to hit. This is where it begins, the middle, the end. That's the director's role, is making sure that happens. So the fight is in service to the story, not just a gratuitous fight, even though those are fun.
Those are so cool too. Yeah, but
Those
yeah,
are cool
right,
too.
right,
Those are
right.
cool too.
Yeah. Can't neglect those. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I would encourage any director, just based on my little bit of experience with you guys, is to lean into collaborating with the stunt team on some of the specifics, because you guys are gonna come up with some really cool shit, that I never would have thought of, just because I don't know martial arts other than just seeing stuff in movies. That's literally my only reference. So it's like, I would encourage people to do that if they are working with a stunt team. As far as like skills, disciplines, I mean, what would be some like key things like that stunt performers, should maybe have like on their resume and stuff like that? Like whether it's like you said, taekwondo, or are there certain stunts like you mentioned high falls or fire or whatever it is, like key things that would be like highlights on a resume that you think that maybe a good stunt performer should have?
Whatever you're interested in.
Okay.
Because if you're interested in it, I mean, that's the thing about stunts, is you kind of specialize, or like for me, I used to work in an OR, so as much as I think crotch rockets look amazing, I won't get on one because I've seen the other side and it terrifies me. But to that point, there are people who love stunt driving. So I would never go out for a stunt driving thing because I don't have that experience. So I would never say, hey, let me be a stunt driver,
Right.
but at least on the motorcycle side. But that's the thing, for the people who love motorcycles, do what you're interested in, because there's so many things you can do. You don't have to do it all. If you like high falls, do high falls. If you like the fire, do the fire. You want to learn how to juggle. And this is something like for Colorado, we're very commercial industrial here.
Right.
And this is more specifically to actors, is film yourself doing things you know how to do. Simple things.
Yeah.
Skiing, get some ski footage. Get some whitewater rafting footage, get some hiking footage, some mountain biking footage, like stuff that we wouldn't really necessarily think about, but those technically are considered stunts.
Yeah.
And especially because we do a lot of commercials here, outdoor gear commercials here, car commercials here. A lot of it's like, this is us hiking in the Colorado mountains,
Sure.
and they look for people that have those skills and they want to see footage of it. So basically, like, start filming yourself doing some of those things. So when those things come up, like I've seen ones be like, we need an actress that can do a cartwheel, you know?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Have
Simple.
stuff like have stuff like that. So it's not always big full fight
Action,
scenes or like the
yeah.
big falls or stuff. I mean, it can be as small as can you do a handstand?
Sure,
You know,
sure.
stuff like that.
Can you
And
drive a car? Like, you
can
know,
you
just-
can you drive a car? I had
you
to
know.
do that on a set. They're like, are you okay with driving? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
No big deal. So like stuff like that. But I would say start with what you're interested in. And it's like, hey, if you're like, I have always wanted to do a backflip, find a gymnastics center. You know,
Right.
oftentimes they've got adult hours or, you know, circus troops, stuff like that we've talked about. You know, find what you're interested in, kind of just build out from there. You know, you don't
Sure.
you don't, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day.
yeah.
As far as the action elements, I would just
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
be curious though, like the high fall, and I always maybe just from hanging out with you now, I'm getting my algorithm sends me like stunt videos and stuff.
Probably,
You
yeah.
need this.
You need,
Yeah,
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 exactly,
yeah.
yeah.
We're here for you.
Which is like I'm eating it up, like, oh, this is sweet. Where it's like them in
Yeah.
a gym and they're like running and doing like where they get shot in the head.
Oh, those are so
Oh,
fun.
You know,
yeah.
where they're like running
Those are
shot and they just
amazing.
like fall, you know,
Love
kind of
it.
thing.
That
like,
was on my feed last night.
was that? Yeah. Like
Love
I
it,
see
yeah.
that stuff all the time on
Yeah.
Instagram. I mean, are there certain things like that like, you know, if somebody wanted to get into like kind of if John Wick was like the, you know, the end all be all for the kind of stunt stuff that someone would want to do, are there things within that realm that you know are key things that people are going to want to see?
Oh yeah. There's I think there's plenty. I think if you think about it, you think about the basics, and I think for people in Colorado that are like even interested in doing stunts, and maybe they don't have like an idea of like, oh yeah, I mean like everything I just see just looks cool. Like I think it's not so much like they don't have to be nervous or discouraged that like, well, God, I'm not a martial artist, I'm not a gymnast. It's like honestly, it really comes down to just balance and coordination. So as long as you can work on a skill, I mean, I had a buddy who's a phenomenal gymnast, like Olympic level, like he's a awesome gymnast. And he, in college, like he did ballet. And it was just like, you know, you're at first you're like ballet and it's like, no, but that's balance and coordination and you're in control of your body. So if you can get comfortable there, at that point, it's like you can have a mentor or you can train with people that are martial artists, that are gymnasts, and then learn those skills that way because, you know, in the industry, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you kind of just learn on the job.
Okay.
And I like coming from like a martial arts perspective, I thought that was like, okay, I'm kind of grounded. I think I'm gonna get into this like a lot easier. And for the most part, the footwork, the techniques, it's like, yeah, you kind of understand it like when you're learning about stunt fighting. But then you come to realize like, well, you know, Taekwondo kicks are a little different and they don't really read well on camera. So you kind of have to like relearn and like break certain habits. Same thing with gymnastics. Like, you know, everything's very precise and glamorous and well, you know, elegant and very, you know, strong. And when you're doing a acrobatic stunt, it's like you can't make it look like you're competing at a meet, you know.
Yeah.
You have to muddy it up. So it's like, you know, going into like, you know, gymnastics to stunts, you know, they're probably thinking like, oh man, like I've trained for so many years to make this look pretty. Now I have to make it look ugly. Like, what is that? You know, and so it's kind of a caveat. So it's like I would be careful in thinking like, oh, I have to be a martial artist first. I have to. But again, to your point, like it's like find what you want to do. If you want to do fights, it's like, yeah, go find a martial arts gym and then you can work your way into it and then you'll understand the conventions of it and then it'll be a lot easier and safer.
Sure. So those things are probably good to have, but ultimately it's more about getting experience.
Right. And then it's
feeling
layered.
it out on set.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you learn stunt skills on top of that. And then it's like, oh, I see where the puzzle pieces are connecting.
Sure.
So-
No, that makes sense. Makes sense. Based on, you know, being on set, I mean, can you guys talk a little bit about on set, like just a day on set? So like from a stunt team's perspective, it's like, you know, are there, you know, is there an hour period leading up to the stunts where you're prepping and stretching, you know, or like, you know, practicing while they're lighting, you know, and like, you know, like you mentioned safety meetings, just kind of like walk me through, a day on set and what are some of those kind of key stages leading up to go time?
Yeah, I think a day on set. Yeah, because you know most of the time is probably spent in pre-production. So you know you're getting all the rehearsals, the previs, and then yeah on set. Yeah, it's like it starts with like the safety meeting. You know, depending on like what time like the action is being set up. You know, that's like the director saying, okay, you know, okay, this is the action scene. Like let's get the coordinator in. And there's like, you know, ample prep time. I think for stunt performers, it's like at that time, it's like you kind of want to stay loose, you know, and you throughout the day because, you know, as we all know, like it's just like that hurry up and wait kind of like you're just sitting there like, okay, what is it? You know?
Right. But it is on set.
As it is,
Like,
you can't really escape that, right?
Yeah,
and so you know, you're getting ready like mentally and physically, and it's you know. Making sure that safety's good to go, making sure that the medic is good to go. Just God forbid something happens, but you know, just making sure that the medic is even present. Because I've been on a few sets where it's like, you know, something happens, we have to like, there's medical attention needed, and it's like, well, where's the medic? It's like, well, we thought you were the medic, and you're like, what? Like,
oh, okay, yeah.
that's not, yeah. So that's like not good.
Oh, just
yeah.
really taking the time to understand roles.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and the director, everyone. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like I feel like gearing up for a stunt is probably like its own kind of thing. You know, in terms of like making sure everyone's on the same page, I guess.
Yeah. I guess it's just it's kind of it's weird. It's like it's its own world, but it's like within the bigger world of like the whole set, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, you know, you just and at that point it's like, you know, the coordinator's talking with the performers and maybe actually even the actors too, because you know there could be situations where we're working with the actors now, so it's like, okay, because you know they're confident enough to like, you know, okay, they're holding a gun or they're doing a fight, you know, like we've taught them how to do the fight in the pre-production phase, and you know they've gotten their training in and like they're getting used to it. So at that point we're making doubly sure that like, okay, like this is our distance, like just watch out for, you know, stuff over there, and just doing soft rehearsals, you know, like, okay, we're just doing like a rehearsal take. Let's just, you know, get it, you know, kind of get the jitters out if anything. And then,
yeah. And then even, do you go through it in like almost like a slow motion?
Yeah.
Also too, I feel like the camera people would need to kind of like, okay, can we just go through this at half speed?
Yes.
So we can kind of get a sense of where we need to be at certain moments.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are those elements where it's like you said, it's a dance, not just with the stunt team, but also like the camera team.
The cinematographer. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, you know, the timing and the beats are important. Yeah. Because, you know, you don't want your performers going too fast and then it's like, oh shoot, we didn't, you know, so.
Yeah.
And of course, like, you know, previs, for, you know, for people that don't know that, it's basically just a filmed rehearsal of the fight or just the action or whatever, just to give the director kind of an idea of like, okay, this is like how we're seeing it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it has to be shot this way. Although, like, maybe if the director just needs, like, they don't know how to shoot action, which is fine, you know. But it's like, oh, maybe the stunt coordinator can like help give like that perspective a lot, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of it's pizzazz, you know. But anyway, it's just to show like, okay, this is what it's looking like, and then it gives the camera operator just like, oh, okay, yeah, I know. I think I can tweak something, but like I know what you're trying to accomplish here.
Oh, well, thank you for clarifying that. I was wondering that. Previous, do you mean like an animated thing? Like
oh yeah,
but like it's like a video of the fight. Is that something that the
Yeah.
stunt team kind of typically will bring to set?
Yeah.
Like, here's us in the gym doing it.
Oftentimes, yeah.
And then use that as like a reference tool to talk
so
through
it's previs stands for pre-visualization.
Right.
So they do this in like motion capture for video games. Anytime you've got, especially like fights and stuff, because it's easy, you know, the stunt team kind of, if they're putting together, you know, if it's kind of the here's my beats but I don't really know what else, they're doing that, they can send that and they'll be like, what do you think about this? So it kind of, so by the time you get to set, everybody's kind of like already on the same page. It's not you seeing it for the first time and going, uh-oh.
Yeah,
You know?
right. Something here was different than they expected.
Right.
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
hold what? Like, yeah, it's like, yeah.
So it helps kind of be like, okay, here's what we're thinking. You know, if you want to make changes, this is the easy time to make changes. You know, here you can get a good idea of like camera A, camera B, like whatever it is that you need to pre-visualize as well. It's kind of a great kind of storyboard, if you will,
Yeah.
but a live action storyboard for
That's a good way of putting that. I like that. Yeah.
yeah,
For sure.
for a stunt fight. So it's great. Like if you have the time to do that, and
okay, yeah.
you know, it's great. But that's where often, like again, in motion capture, you do have those rehearsal days. You do like one rehearsal day to 2 to 3 days of shooting.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff, and that's where you get those previs so they can see it. Because sometimes it is the actors themselves that actually end up doing it. They just need to visualize it. Then they can give it to the actors and be like, okay, this is what you're doing. Or leading into the fight, the actor needs to, you know, run across the bar, take the thing, smack them in the head with the bottle, and then it freezes there, and that's where the stunt actor comes in and picks up from here to the rest of the fight. So they're showing the actor, this is you. Run, pick it up, smash, freeze.
Yep. Okay.
And then they can be like, oh, I know exactly, instead of being like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You want me to do what now? You know, so it really helps visualize, you know, exactly what they need to do. So people are going, oh, yeah, okay, I got it. Instead of just trying to be like, okay, theoretically,
Yeah.
you know, it's very helpful.
So sounds like a very important part of pre-production then, that the director and producers should be, if there's time and if budget allows, that you know, to get things dialed in leading up to it. And I would imagine there might even be hopefully some back and forth with the director of sending them those previs videos.
Yes.
And then getting notes on it, and then so that by the time you come to set, it's we've decided on what we're going to do, and it's just, unless something small comes up or someone has a good idea or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're pretty like,
Always happens.
it's
It's
for the
pretty
most part
dialed
just
in.
execution.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I mean, for like first time directors like working with a stunt team, are there any like kind of common, you know, things that they should know, or, you know, mishaps that they can avoid? Do you guys have any kind of advice for like first time directors or producers working with a stunt team to make sure that they're going to get a good result on set? Or common mistakes that a first time director might make
Oh yeah. Man.
that they can avoid?
It's a great question. I think, God, and I had something in mind too, but I think for the most part, it's you kind of like what we were talking about before. It's like, you know, there's you basically want to make sure like everything's kind of laid out for you before you start, you know, talking to a stunt coordinator, because like they kind of need the information too, you know, and that oftentimes, like, you know, is kind of, it's just everyone's really eager. Sorry, everyone's like really eager to you know, get the job done. Like they're really excited about the fight. Like maybe that's all they're thinking about, and that's fine. You know, it's excitement. Everybody does it, but yeah, you just want to have all the information laid out. And sometimes too, like directors, and it's not a fault to their own. It's but yeah, sometimes it's like, you know, when you trust somebody to, you know, come up with like a good fight. I'll call it a fight dialogue. But it's kind of like you want to make sure that you're hiring the right person for the right job. So like even if it's like a character, it's like okay, like we know you have some guys, and it's like, you know, we know you can like perform like this function. It's like, okay, great, you know, okay, who are your characters? You know, it's like you're and maybe I'm kind of switching the answer here, but you know, for
no worries, yeah.
but for like a fight performer, like they need to know, like, okay, I'm not just going in because I'm a martial artist. Like, I'm just going to start, you know, swinging and like doing spin hook kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's awesome. But you're playing like a baker that's getting robbed. And it's like, do bakers know martial arts? Like, so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, let's hone in on like what you're needing exactly. And then we can send in the guys, and then we can allocate like how we're going to build this fight a little bit more.
No, I agree, and I think
that makes
more
any
people
sense.
Should know more about that, right? Is
Yeah.
like, I think people, a lot of maybe directors would be surprised to know how collaborative the process really is.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not just stunts and execution. It's like talking with the stunt team about the character,
Yeah.
and then coming up with the stunts through the story, like
Yeah.
you said. So no, I think that is a really important aspect, and it was the thing that when I worked with you guys that I was most excited to like
Yeah.
just to do, and like going into it next time, I feel like I would really be a little bit more dialed in to have that conversation, I was kind of just going, oh, like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was all new to me the first time I worked with you guys on it. So like, I think directors should know that stuff, that it is with the characters and the story a little bit more collaborative on that front that they would expect. And they're going to get a better result.
Yes.
Because you guys are going to come up with really cool shit in the realm of what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And
hopefully it makes
not,
sense. Yeah.
They might not know that that's there for them when they hire a stunt team.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think that is an important thing to touch on.
I would add there, just keeping in mind like how important safety is and how it can be frustrating at times when you're like, we need to take a second to maybe restructure how the room is set. You know, we might need to move this table because it's a sharp corner and that is just a little too close. We just don't want to take any chances. You know, just allowing for listening to all the voices in the room.
Yeah.
You know, if there's anybody flagging anything, then it needs to be addressed, you know, and whether it's just let's talk about it for a second, we're good, or whether it is, hey, let's just move the table.
Yeah.
Easy. Let's
Just
move it
adapt,
3 inches. Let's just
Yeah.
move it, cheat it out a little bit, whatever, or slightly move something so that that's no longer an issue. I'm no longer worried about splitting my head open. You know, now I feel good. Let's continue. Is just being open to, you know, safety is not just, oh, I've got some mats.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You know, and being like, well, you can just do this. You're like, yeah,
But
but here's the thing, you know. So I think it's just being. I think that's the most important part is in collaboration, you know, just being open to listening and taking into account all the voices in the room.
Yeah, making sure everybody's comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and on that note, I mean, I would imagine on some like smaller budgets, you might have that kind of stuff. So like, you know, as far as like producers working on small budgets, you know, what would you say is the smartest way for them to bring in a stunt team without compromising on safety and quality of what they're trying to accomplish, you know?
Yeah. I would really look at, you know, there's acting schools, there's like circus troupes, there's stunt professionals. It's really just talking to people because, you know, as we know in Colorado, it's very collaborative, you know, and a lot of us love helping out and love working on projects that we're interested in, either because we like the people that are doing them, or we're like, oh my gosh, that pitch is like that really hits me, and you know, I want to be in on it. So I mean, we all like making money, you know. But I mean, as we also know, like sometimes it's passion projects. So it's kind of just being open to talking about people, and it's like, okay, maybe we can't work on something because we're already booked or for whatever reason, but it's going, hey, I know people, or they know people. You know, you need a skateboarder for your set. Oh, I can't skateboard, but I know skateboarders, you know, type of stuff like that. So, I mean, it's kind of just being open, just talking to people and going, hey, even if you don't think you have the budget to hire who you want, talk to them. Maybe they can, maybe they can't, but maybe they know people too. That would be like, and that's really the thing is talking to people, and people can recommend people and stuff like that. And I think as long as people are collaborative, talking, and you know safety, you know, just I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, there's so many resources, and just don't be afraid to like just engage with those resources. You know, there's I think it's a mistake when like you know, there's always going to be, you know, entities where it's like, oh, because you know, with experience, credentials, like there's a lot of information to give. But, you know, don't feel like you're pressured into like, oh, okay, I have to learn from that one source. It's like, no, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's a great foundation, but just you don't have to be afraid of like other perspectives. I mean, like, I think a lot of people will know what is kind of like, that's a little sketchy, or like, you know, what is really good. You know, it's like, you know, genuine stuff about safety. Like, I mean, that's definitely the most important thing is like, you don't want to have that source that's just like, oh yeah, you know, we're just the kick-ass stunt, and it's like, okay, you know, that's, I'm sure you guys,
someone gets hurt,
until somebody gets hurt, it's like, you know, it's kind of,
as
but,
a director, it would be horrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
Feel awful.
Yeah, but yeah, just collaborate, just you know, talk to folks and just get as much information as you can, and just don't rush it. Just don't rush it. Just take the time to, learn.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and you guys touched on it earlier, but just to kind of segue into like the local landscape for people, to be into that, and that's kind of what this podcast is focused about. Yeah. How would you describe the current landscape? I know we touched on it a little earlier for stunt performers in Colorado. Like you said, what are strategies to kind of fill in the gaps? Because we maybe are, hopefully in the next 5 years here, I'm really hoping with a lot of the initiatives that the CFEA and WIFMCO are pushing, and Sundance coming here.
Yeah.
I hope that's going to kind of shake things within like how the government sees the value of film productions here, because there's kind of a weird history there. And I'm, hopefully things like Sundance coming into town and the economic impact that it makes will put a lot more focus on what could be for a film industry here. Definitely. But as it exists today, how do you guys see the landscapes, and what are some, tips for, again, filling in the work, as far as like trying to network with people out in LA or Atlanta or New York or what have you, or New Mexico? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think overall the majority of the big stunt stuff is basically other places. We do get occasionally feature films, SAG feature films that come here, and oftentimes they do require stunts. But I mean, that's currently right now hasn't been too many. Okay. So like if you want to be a full-blown professional stunt person, you're gonna want to probably move or fly. Okay.
Right.
LA, Atlanta, Vegas, New Mexico does have, a decent amount of films and stuff out there, places in Texas, stuff like that. So like if you're wanting to go like full blown, but you could also be here. And if you're willing to, fly and learn things, because they do obviously the bigger stunt stuff out there, and they have workshops and stuff that you can attend. Again, find what you're interested in, do that. And as far as here, what you kind of see more so than like full-blown stunt listings is requests coming out from agents going, does anybody know anybody that can do a somersault? Does anybody know anybody that can catch a football on a run? I was on a commercial set that needed, some stunts, and the stunt was basically catching a football on a fly. Okay. And, they brought in a stunt coordinator from LA to do that. And, they hired somebody who could do that locally, but they brought in, a stunt coordinator from LA to do that set. And, so, I mean, it's kind of just being open to a little bit of the stuff. And that usually comes through the agencies at that point, because they're more like, again, we're looking for skiers.
I was gonna say for like commercial, like brand stuff, and like in that sort, like more ad agencies doing a commercial where it's gonna require some stunt stuff.
Correct. Yeah, it's like, to back to the point of like, we just need somebody who can hike, or we need somebody who can mountain bike. Yep. So for actors that are listening to this, get that footage of you. I mean, it can be like 15 seconds, 20 seconds of you whitewater rapid rafting. It can be you. I mean, it can be something really simple, but they want somebody that's experienced, and they usually are like, footage if you have it. Like I got one the other day. It was like sledding. And I'm like looking back, I'm like, do I even have footage? I'm like, I know I sled.
Sweet.
Yeah. But like stuff like that is just stuff you don't necessarily think about, but that's where you see the majority of the, I'll say, stunt work here. It's more commercial lent, and that comes through the agents to, the breakdown to the actors that are like, hey, anybody that fits this demographic they're looking for, that can also do X, Y, and Z. And it's very commercial, driven here, because Colorado's very commercial industrial.
No, that makes sense. And I would assume it would be a good way to kind of diversify as an actor too, like
absolutely
at some of the agencies. And I did a spot for my work that involved dancers.
Yeah.
And it was like, I reached out to some, agencies around here, and, some said, no, we don't really have actor. We're more, just acting and stuff. And then I did find one that did have like, a whole group within their portfolio that were just focused on like, or just had the skill of dancing and stuff like that. So maybe as a way of setting yourself apart at some of these talent agencies, having some stunts stuff on your resume would be a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, just a special skills reel.
Yep.
You know, you can piece it all together. This is all the weird things I can do. Or you can have them like split out as well just to have on file. Because, yeah, when those come, it's like I had to dig back through like 3 years to try to find sledding footage because you don't think, hey, let me film me sledding, you know, but you're like, they wanted to see me sledding, you know, stuff like that. Like, so yeah, fill out, just, you know, film yourself juggling, film yourself doing whatever it is you can do. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll add too, you know, stunt listings is it's kind of like it's a stunt database, and it's basically like it's a website where you can you create an account and you could start posting like different skills. So there's like a drop down of like all of these different skills that you can put on, like baseball, like, you know, driving, blah blah blah, and then you can post like a video of it.
Yeah.
So it's actually really cool because it's like it's creating a portfolio for you.
Yeah.
So whenever there's an opportunity of like, you know, for stunt listings, which by the way, like stunt people, they don't really audition. What they do is like they have like their CV, their headshot, and a stunt reel.
Yep.
That's what they're sending to the stunt coordinators that are like, you know, whatever posting it is.
Yeah.
Stunt Bulletin is actually a really good one too, because it actually shows you state by state, even like country to country, like what's going on. And here's the stunt coordinators like information, so you can send it to them. This is kind of like what the movie's about if they don't, you know, tell you what's going, or like what the actual movie is. But yeah, and then you can use that opportunity. It's like, well, I have my stunt listings. It's like, okay, well, what are you looking for? And then you go through the checklist of like, oh yeah, there's sledding, like, you know, snowboarding. There it is. I have a video of it. It's like, boom, here's the link.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you're just kind of going down the list, and it's like, okay, well, what else can I do? It's like, you know, I've got all my master stuff, you know, like, you know, martial art, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the stunt listings like community, they'll post monthly, like, hey, we're looking for jugglers, you know. And then at that point, it's kind of like, okay, well, let's go out and juggle and like get a, you know, and then well, just
I learned to juggle on set during all of the downtime.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's great. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
and you
so
have
fun.
footage of it, and it looks great.
I'll make sure to include those in the description. I didn't know that. So there are like websites for finding stunt people. And like you can like create a profile or
you create a profile. Sometimes they'll have job postings on there. I feel, and maybe I don't know if it like depends on like, oh, you have to buy the premium service or something, and it's like okay. What you know, but it's in Colorado at least, it's you're probably gonna find the commercial stuff, which is not a bad thing. It's but you know, it depends on what the person's looking for. If you're trying to get like, you know, I want to be like I want to be in the Superman movie. It's like okay, you know, but then maybe you have to list yourself as like, okay, I'm outreaching, so I'm like I'm based in LA and Denver, and maybe I have an agency somewhere in Albuquerque or something. Then at that point it's like, okay, now the website's like, okay, you're Albuquerque, okay, well here's some jobs there. So yeah, but I mean, just having that stunt listings like profile, I think is very nice. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but it's kind of nice to just have that all inclusive thing where it's just like, oh, link there. It's like, this is what you need specifically. Boom.
Yeah.
You just send it out.
And I think you hit it, but just one more time. What are those key things that stunt performers should have? Like a demo reel. You know, should it be an all-encompassing demo reel or different demo reels for different things, depending, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, like should they really get on these platforms to create a profile? So there is like a website situation for them that's essentially like their portfolio.
Yeah. I would say if there is like a top 3, let's just say, I would say, your overall demo reel. And you know, people think like, well, God, I don't have a lot of like movie footage, and it's like, that's okay, because I think it's kind of changed a little bit where it's like they really just want like training footage,
right?
You know, and you don't have to like have like major cuts, like it doesn't have to look fancy. It's just like, we just want to see what you can do. I think same thing for motion capture. It's like they want to see a reel of just you moving, you know, no cuts, like nothing fancy. I just want to see the way your body is moving. But I think as far as like a reel, like they want like a reactions reel, I think is a really good one for you know, stunt people or just aspiring stunt people to like have, just because that's a huge component, right? It's like, you know, can you take hits? You know, does it look good? Does it look believable? Falls is also a good one. I think that's like, in terms of like acrobatic, like how do you move in the air? So if we're doing a wire pull, like I want to see how comfortable you are, like letting physics like just take you into like an unknown kind of like situation in the air. So like that's always good to have. I mean, sometimes even an acting reel, like because oftentimes like you'll be like, thug number 2, but it's like your line is, hey you, it's like, how are you gonna say it? So sometimes you gotta have like, a little bit of acting reel in there as well. So I think like that's probably like the top 3. I'm sure I'm missing one.
I would say a special skills reel, especially like if you're brand new and you're like, I don't have wire experience, so I have no footage. That's fine. Shoot what you do have, kind of back to, here is going, okay, so you don't have that, you'll get it eventually. Do what you can. I can juggle, I can ski, I can hike, build up your special reels. I think if you have one that's kind of all pieced together, but then you also have a database, like a file that has them individually, because you never know when you're like, again, a commercial or something that's like, I just need a skier. Well, I don't want to send a whole reel where you're going, hey, the ski clip is at the end. Somebody's going to be like, dude, I'm 10 seconds in and I don't have time for this. No, I just want to see the skiing. Give me the skiing. So I think it's important to have one that's like combined and out, just because it's easy. You can just, make it really easy for the people that you're sending it to. I think that's the point there. The other thing I would say is you want to have your own like stunt pads, your own safety stuff. You absolutely. I mean, because
absolutely,
a lot of this, like you are responsible for yourself and your safety first and foremost. So you want to have, if you're going to be doing anything, you want to have like the back fall pads, you want to have the knee pads, the elbow pads. You want to have your own stunt equipment. And I mean, you can obviously keep adding and keep acquiring stuff, but you want a basic set of like pads and stuff, because you never know when you're on a set and they're like, oh, we need to do this, and the last thing you want to be like is,
oh shoot,
I don't have, does anybody have this? Because I'm like, if you are representing yourself as the stunt professional, that's your calling card. That's what your badge should be. That's your job. Your job is to have your safety stuff. So I mean, obviously you don't have to come with your own big airbag. That's a different thing. But your own personal attire and stuff like that. That's your job.
Yeah, and I think you could probably attest to this too. Like I think like every set that we've been on, we're always upgrading our gear too, because like there's always gonna be like I mean,
it's an excuse. You're like, I need a what now?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's the craziest things too. Like it's like you have your basic set of needs, in your bag. It's like this is gonna cover a lot of ground, and then but then you're doing something maybe specific on set, and it's like, oh shoot, this would have been great if I had like, an Under Armour like long sleeve, because now I'm not getting scratched up, and then boom, now you're just adding that to your arsenal. And who knows, you might not be doing that kind of stunt, but it's like you're always thinking there's at least one new thing that I can add to my bag. And hopefully it's like small enough that you can still fit it all. I mean, like, but by the end of like, I don't know, I mean, by the time you've done like, a handful of stunt gigs, then it's like, oh, my bag's heavier now. It's like I've got more stuff, and it's not just like you keep what is useful, discard what is not. But I think that's kind of the cool thing of just like you kind of look at your gear and you're like, man, I've been doing different things, and it's like there's so much that could happen on set, as for a stunt person too. So I think just being open, just looking around, buying like that, that equipment, it doesn't have to be the expensive stuff, as long as it actually works, but just knowing that that's a reality. Is that it's just like, oh, my bag is going to get heavier with new stuff. And then at that point, then you're going to like that, maybe that Hollywood set, like, and you're like, dude, I'm ready. Like, what size do you need? Like, you've got it.
Yeah, so you need the extra sizes because costumes.
Yeah.
Because if I'm wearing short sleeves, I can no longer wear my rash guard.
Right, yeah.
Because they're going to be like, that's not going to match, So you have to, have the different, some costumes I can wear the big fluffy pads and it's great, and some I need the super thin ones because you're going to see it, otherwise. So stuff like that. So you end up acquiring a plethora of sizes of things as well. So
that makes sense. That's a good point, is having like a kit. That sort of your set kit, like almost like a makeup artist that has certain tools that they're always bringing, and so
Yep.
so it sounds like that's something as a stunt performer, you're developing your set of props and your kit and all the elements that you would need to do the job, like, and building a kind of a repertoire of those different safety elements as well as props and stuff. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, that's cool. Well, as we close out here, my goal with this podcast is very much just to obviously just provide education for people that's useful, and also shed light on the industry around here. And, I guess the long-term goal is really to kind of support people like WIFMCO and CFVA and the state, and try to, we're all trying to cultivate an industry here. And I guess, like, I would just be curious to know from your guys' perspective, what would be those things that from your perspective as a stunt performer that Colorado really needs to do to have that industry here, that you could do it full time? From, what do you see as some of those elements that need to happen to kind of create that environment?
Well, we could film a couple Marvel movies here.
So more Hollywood productions coming in, so maybe leading into like better tax incentives and.
Yeah, I mean, I think like for stunt performers specifically to be able to create more of a sustainable full-time living, it would need to be bigger productions that come here. I think that's kind of, I think, the bottom line.
Yeah. Which, again, that kind of maybe plays into the tax incentive and
Exactly.
the Colorado Film Guide, like really kind of creating that infrastructure so that people can easily film here and get the resources they need, as well as, I guess, just more attention to the benefits of filming here. Because I don't see why we don't have more of an industry.
I know, it's weird, yeah.
Yeah, there's a weird history of why, which I won't get into. But, I think it is rebuilding. And I'm really, like I said, I'm hopeful that things like Sundance and just everything that the CFVA and WIFMCO and is doing to get our ducks in a row. Because I know everyone seems to be like, from the perspective of like, yeah, Sundance is great, but it's not going to solve our problems. It's like we need to kind of all work together to attract more productions and also create our own productions and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. Because it's a very good kind of situation that like we have to kind of problem solve a little bit. And because I don't want people to feel discouraged that it's like, oh, well, I'm in Colorado, like, do I feel stuck? It's like, no, I mean, it's you have to be careful of like, just talking to like random folks. It's like, oh, I want to do this. It's like, it's not that you have to like ignore that. It's just, I think when you find the education first, I think then you have a better understanding of like, okay, the do's and don'ts. And I think like once that happens, I mean, that's pretty much a good start in terms of just like, okay, now I can start working on stuff. Like, there's groups of people that like I really, vibe well with and always communicating. And it's like we always have right ideas, and then we trained together. So it's like, okay, so we understand like what's going on. But yeah, don't be afraid. I mean, I know things are like, smaller here, but it's but it's still valuable. It's still valuable because Colorado has so much talent, so much, and it's like, and it's very sad that like we're kind of overseen a little bit.
Sure.
Because like, I mean, it's not to I get it. The industry kind of is like built bigger in other places, but I think just Colorado has like a really good. I'm optimistic about like Colorado having a good chance of just like, if we can. Connect, find those like really, good, groups of people, and they're willing to collaborate, they're willing to connect, and nobody's like trying to like take hold of like a niche market and like, coddle it first. Cause I think that's a mistake. I think it's just like, oh, we're the go-to all, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you don't want that kind of environment. I think that's just not the way to do it. But it's like, cause not only that, you're taking away the, opportunities of your talent, because it's like yeah, but your talent could do more. They can. So it's like, how do we you're thinking about like, how do we take these people, here's the skills, it's like, what can we do creatively that we can just like make these people shine? And with stunts specifically, it's like, safety of course, but having having that like action put out, it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of show people, it's like, oh man, like, you know, I watched John Wick, but it's like, oh, there's people in Colorado that can do that too. You know, it's it's like, that's cool. It's kind of cool to see that locally, you know, and then it helps inspire people here to like, okay, yeah, I think we can do it.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out, but I think things are in motion. I'm kind of it'll be interesting especially over the next couple years here to see like if there's going to be a tipping point.
I also think it's interesting for like the industry at large, because as we know, if we like zoom out past Colorado, you know, I'm into LA and like worldwide markets, like there's such a shift going on in the entertainment industry in general. So I'm like, if we were looking for an opportunity,
Right.
this is kind of it, because the entire industry is getting shaken up with just everything going on, all the shifts. Honestly, if I were to do something right now and had the funding to do it, I would say Colorado should start a vertical production
Oh, sure.
here, because it's kind of the next, it's already a big thing. Like SAG just signed vertical things, and I think Netflix is acquiring a vertical thing, and the next thing right now it's kind of all like romantic based stuff.
Okay.
But the next thing they're going to break into is other genres. I'm like, dude, a horror vertical? Like, we should set up a horror vertical studio here. Yeah. Like that, like they're very fast paced. It's a completely different experience, like on set, because it's a different world. But I'm like, that could be a massive thing, because you don't need massive sets. You don't need massive production budgets.
Yeah.
But like that, like verticals are kind of a big thing right now. And it's like, it's just kind of, I think for Colorado, it might be, let's get creative. Maybe we can't build out a massive studio like Trillis Studios here or Pinewood or stuff like that. But what if we're like the vertical capital of the world? Like, you know, like, but I mean, I think it's get creative. You know, I think this is the moment where the entire industry is kind of shifting. Yeah. And it's like, make your mark. Like this is our shot. We've got the industry changing. We've got Sundance coming. Yeah. We've got some, you know, incentives in the pipeline, and we've got a community of fantastic actors, directors, producers, cinematographers, stunt performers. Like we've got it. Colorado has it. Yeah. You know?
No, I agree. And I feel like the industry is sort of shifting a little local, it seems, like really celebrating places like Atlanta or whatever, like with good tax incentives, even like New Mexico and stuff. So no, I agree. Yeah, we kind of have to, but it is up to us to make it happen. Yeah. You know,
not just gonna
coming
fall
here
in.
isn't just gonna
we can't wait.
Flip a switch, and it's a huge industry here. I hope it helps and at least provides access to maybe attract productions coming here, because there might be like filmmakers, producers that go to that event and go, wow, I didn't realize, you know, what was here. And then all of a sudden their next film is here. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm very hopeful that it, you know, that it, that we kind of, it starts to snowball.
Yes.
Because this is such a great location. I don't understand why people wouldn't want to come here and film. And the crews here, I think from what I've heard too, even on some of the bigger productions, you know, everyone is nice and it's not so cutthroat like LA or New York, and it's a team sport. We all want to see it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's
the LA crews that come in are always shocked. That is something I always hear on set from LA crews, is they're going, "Oh, you guys are so nice here," because we're so used to collaborating and be like, "Oh, I'll help pick this up." Whereas in LA, you're like, I'm just the actor. That I not saying anything mean against LA people at all, like, because that is the job, and they've got like rules and stuff. Whereas here, it's we kind of all pitch in, you know.
Expectation's different. Yeah,
the expectation is different. The roles are very different, you know, stuff like that. But they always are like, it's so nice. Everybody's so nice here.
I'm less stressed. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
You're like, it's the higher you have less oxygen.
It's
fine.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Well, just to close out, I mean, like, you know, how can people follow your guys' work, connect with you if they wanted to hire you guys for stunts and stuff, or acting? I don't know, social media channels, websites, if you got them.
Yeah.
And I'll include them in the description, but we can hit on them too.
Oh, okay. So me and a couple buddies actually, we just started a fresh YouTube channel. It's called Sword Show. We have a few videos on YouTube now. We just released one last night. and it's basically just it's just us guys just kind of like going on this journey of like learning about filmmaking, because now, you know, we're all stunt performers, but it's like, what is it like to be on the other side of it? Like, you know, holding camera, like getting all these shots. So it's kind of this experimental thing that we're doing, but it's just action shorts, and we want to make stories out of them. So we want to create this atmosphere where it's like, it's not just about cool action. It's about like the story that like justifies the cool action. And, you know, we're leaning into a little bit of the comedy aspect of just like what the YouTube vibe per se, but
yeah, cool.
Having fun with it. You know, I was talking to Tara about it. Like it's really just for, you know, because we had like ideas that we wanted to do, and it's really just, hopefully people look at it and it's just like, oh wow, like there's Colorado people out here doing, you know, some fun stuff. And even for Colorado people to be like, hey, would you like to like collaborate? And it's like, hell yeah, if you've got an idea, like,
yeah,
let's do it. Let's just do it. It's not just like, you know, like we're the main characters, like we're just, it's like no man, it's just like, no, we're just having fun. And I know we were talking to you about like, you know, just like, you know, cyberpunk or, you know, ideas and stuff like that, and it's like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
like
dude.
let's get together, let's do it, and just see what we can come up with, and hopefully people gravitate towards it. So anyway,
well, no, and filmmaker friends of mine, I will definitely encourage them to reach out to you guys. Yeah, because I don't know if everyone would assume or know that they have this at their disposal.
Yeah.
But again, in the realm of like, we have such talent here, and there's people doing stunts here. It's like, you know, we just got to come together and make some cool stuff. Yeah. Maybe you got to flip that camera on the side and do the vertical episodics or something.
Oh
just
man,
to throw that out there. But
yeah.
But how about you?
Yeah. So my website is tarajadefox.com, or I'm Tara Jade Fox on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. So
nice. All right. Well, thank you guys for doing this. Yeah. I could geek out about stunt stuff all day and motion capture. So this was great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, this is Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film scene. Thanks for tuning in.